Lilies and Lilacs, Episode 11, Restoration of Peace. As the winter finally released its grip on autumn bliss, the news came by way of messenger. After 2 long, sorrow-filled months, the crusade was over, and people would be returning. Or so Tessica thought. Many of the adventurers returned, and with the conclusion of the Crusades came many adventurers with gold to spend. Like most mornings, Tessica walked to her distributor's house as the first wave of adventurers returned to Autumn Bliss. She greeted them and told them about her drink specials. Tessica returned to Lilies and Lilacs, and she began making delicious food in hopes of patrons coming. The tavern door opened and a familiar face appeared.
Buck, hey, you're back. Welcome, all of you. We have half-price drinks and food, but only for the first 2 rounds.
Buck's party took their seats at the table while Buck moved up to the bar.
Hey, it's great to see you. It feels like it's been years, although it's been, a couple of months? How are you? Did you miss us?
Well, it has been much less noisy without your kind. Much less gold, too. So yeah, I missed you all.
I don't see Zeddy around. Is it her day off?
No, she's still asleep. She stays up pretty late, keeping us safe. She'll be up in a couple of hours, I'm sure. Oh, and we're all good here. How about you? I'd love to hear about how things were. I'm cooking at the moment. What can I get for you all?
Well, for them, a round of Rock Gnome ales. And for me, I'll take a glass of some of your Dustfire whiskey, please.
Oh, starting off strong, are we?
Oh, yeah. I promised if I got through this, my first drink would be some Dustfire.
Wow. It must have been intense.
Oh, yeah. I died.
Wait, what? What do you mean? Like died?
Yeah. Like I was no longer alive, but now I am. So tend to whatever's on the stove before it burns, and I'll tell you about it. I promise.
Tessica went back to the kitchen and made sure nothing was burning. Morden got back from his lunch date with Bonta and began helping with the drink orders. After an hour, Tessica managed to get back to Buck. Jimble and Jaith had left the tavern, and Sarandes was chatting up a pair of adventurers at another table.
Sorry about that. Such is the life of a tavern owner.
Oh, no worries. I'm just enjoying the energy and atmosphere of a tavern again.
I'm glad you're relaxing. Where are your friends?
Well, Jimble went to talk to your man Vonrad about rooms for us all, while Sarandes is talking to her new friends. We all made a bunch of connections during the experience.
What about your other friend?
Buck rolled her eyes and groaned a little.
Well, it's complicated. Jaith is probably off with his new love interest, another half-fae adventurer, who's way too young for him. You might as well know, my party is splitting up.
Oh no, did something happen? Oh yeah. Wait, you said you died.
Yeah, well, it's been a stressful 2 months. Not like any other adventure, mind you. We signed up for a crusade, which was like joining a holy army, with contract and payment after the Lord was killed. So, yeah, we all need breaks from one another, but at least no one stayed dead.
Buck took a long sip of her whiskey, and then winced as it went down.
It all started well enough. We joined the Divine Inquisition temporarily, and we essentially marched off to war. Sarandes was a former soldier, so she took it pretty easy. Jimble did not. You see, my little rock gnome friend has problems with over-encroaching authority. He's a free spirit. It was a good thing he was so good at destroying the enemy, otherwise he might have been dismissed.
I assume your friend Jaith was a scout?
Yeah, he jumped at the chance to be recognized, so for most of the last 2 months, we didn't see each other much. Sarandis joined the front lines and made friends with, a couple of other warrior women like her. Likewise, Jimble found a couple of like-minded folks.
And you?
I tend to make friends wherever I go. Although I realize I'm not everyone's cup of ale, mind you.
Well, I like you a lot.
Thanks. That means a lot. Anyway, it took us about 3.5 weeks to find where this bastard was at. And when we did, we began our assault. Whew. It was nuts. Coregraver had a legion of undead protecting this stronghold, and so we had to lay siege to it.
Oh, wow. When you say stronghold, was it like an old castle? Like in the fairy tales?
Yes, actually, it was a reconstructed citadel from the last kingdom, about 9 days' travel to the east. Oh man, there were so many pitched battles where we lost so many good people and paladins. Whenever we lost someone, they would reanimate and become one of them.
But wait, you said you died.
Ah, that's right. A massive horned monstrosity burrowed up from underneath us, and it started trying to kill us healers. Well, as we were clerics and paladins, we took care of that undead horror pretty easily. As it was dying, it threw itself at this mousy cleric I had taken under my wing. I shoved her out of the way and got gored in the process.
Oh, wow. Oof, so brave of you. But then, how did you avoid being reanimated?
Bach laughed out loud and wiped a tear from her eye.
It was my goddess. One moment I was dying, and then the next, I was standing before my goddess Vanya. She hugged me and told me that I had lived a life representing her love as a mother so well that she was granting me a second chance. She revived me right then and there.
That's amazing.
The other healers told me my whole body glowed, and then a massive ring blasted out from me, and all of the undead within a mile radius of me crumpled to dust, and it helped us win. Bless the goddess mother.
I'm so glad you're alive. You said you and your party are splitting up?
Bach frowned and then gave a little nod.
Well, it started off with an argument between Jaith and Jimble, and you're aware they argue a bunch, but I think after such a harrowing experience, they were both sick of one another. And sick of me mothering them all the time. I admit, I am intense for some people. Jaith's new love interest said he should join their party, which consisted of sneaky woodland scouts and the like. Well, Jaith accepted her offer. As we were marching back, Jimble was approached by a mage collective, and they wanted him to join.
A mage collective? That sounds, fancy.
That rock gnome will either become the country's savior one day, or the mage villain who gets crusaded against. Oh well. Not my circus, not my clowns.
What about Sarandis?
You see, those adventurers she's talking to are part of a mercenary guild called the Lavender Brigade, and they wanted to join them. She hasn't decided yet, but it would be something more steady than the life of an adventurer.
Tessica glanced over to Sarandis, and the half-face smiled broadly. That had been the first time Tessica had ever seen such a large smile on the half-face face.
And what about you? What are you going to do?
I don't know, really.
Do you think you'll join another adventuring party?
I don't think so. After having one party all die on me, and then actually dying myself, I think I'm all adventured out. The golden travel is nice, but it's not worth dying over anymore.
Do you think you'll go back home?
I mean, that's an option. You may not realize this, but the Crimson Coast is actually over 2,000 miles away. It would be an epic journey. while I miss the coast, I don't really have anything waiting for me back home. I mean, I never knew my father, and my mom has already passed away. And the Crimson Coast is as good a place as any. So why make the trek just to settle down?
Buck frowned and then took another sip of her whiskey. A small ache flickered in Tessica's heart, but then a flood of warmth filled her up.
Well, what if, now hear me out, you stayed in Autumn Bliss?
Stayed here? And do what?
Weren't you paid pretty well? You could buy a house and be set up for a long time.
But what would I even do here?
Tessica propped her elbows on the table and rested her head in her hands.
Well, you could work for me. I could use another bartender and also muscle in case out-of-towners get too rowdy. I could offer you 20 gold a week, 2 days off, and, the best part, you could work for Zeddy and me.
Buck laughed for a moment and gave Tessica a curious eye.
Are you being serious?
Yes. What do you say? Do you want to join the Lilies and Lilacs family?
For a long moment, Buck just sat there, studying Tessica.
You know what? Why not? Maybe this is just the career change I've been needing.
Awesome, that's wonderful news.
Zeddy walked up to the table and sat down.
What's wonderful news? Oh, hey, Buck. Welcome back.
Good afternoon, sleepyhead. Guess what? Bach is joining our team. She's going to be our new bar mom.
Bar mom? I love the title.
Oh, really? You're giving up adventuring, huh? That crusade must have been quite intense. What happened?
Buck and Tessica looked at one another before laughing.
It all started well enough. We joined the Divine Inquisition temporarily.
Tessica got up and greeted a trio of patrons who entered.
Welcome to Lilies and... Oh, Commander Reth. It's so wonderful to see you again.
Sir Reth stood in the open space of the common room, adorned in his shining full-plate armor. He gave Tessica a wide smile.
Well met, young lady. Might I order some food and a mild rock gnome ale, please?
Of course. Please, take a seat, and I'll bring out today's special and a rock gnome ale. Does pork chops with vegetables and rice sound nice?
It sounds lovely. Thank you.
Tessica brought the paladin his drink and asked Buck, who was in the kitchen, to bring the paladin a plate of food. Another patron came inside and sat down. He was a very handsome man, and after a moment, Tessica remembered him.
Ah, the mysterious stranger, Mr. Varkas, returns? Welcome.
Mr. Varkas smiled at her warmly.
You remembered my name? Well, that is the mark of a true professional. And you are... Miss Tessica?
Yes. I am sorry to say that I don't remember what you ordered. Well, what can I get for you?
I believe I had a lovely white ogre wine, and some of your delicious stew.
Oh, you probably had either the ogre crisp or the snowberry. I'm guessing it was the crisp, as it's the most popular of the two. We don't have stew today, but we do have pork chops, veggies, and rice. Does that sound good?
An ogre crisp and some pork chops sound great.
Okay, I'll put your order in. So, where are you headed?
Actually, I'm here for a little business. It's much more lively than I last remember.
So, are you a merchant or something?
No, not a merchant, just a problem solver.
There was a brief silence between the pair of them, and not once did Varkas' smile fade.
Right. I'll put your order in.
Tessica went back to the kitchen and returned with the white wine. Even for being so elusive in his details, Mr. Varkas was quite kind and polite. She noticed Sir Reth eating the pork chops, and so she wandered over to him.
So, how's the food? Did everything turn out okay?
Yes, the food is very good. Thank you.
So, I was wondering if I could ask you a couple of questions. I noticed the paladins didn't come back with the adventurers when they arrived. Has the army returned?
Sir Reth wiped his mouth with his napkin. He smiled at Tessica a moment later.
Not all of the army. Most of my brothers and sisters are at the former stronghold of that dastardly villain Caregiver. We are repurposing it into a stronghold of delight. It is closer to the city of Greenfort by 3 days, however. I am here to establish a post within this city to help maintain order and safety of its residents.
Really? Wow. Having a post of paladins in town would be great. This year, we had a dragon, crazy fog, and most recently, an undead army. It's more exciting, but I'd welcome some more order.
Yes, when I met with your mayor to discuss it, he seemed strangely eager to have us here. It is slightly odd, but it might be because of the stressful events you mentioned.
Yeah, the poor mayor has gone through a lot this year. He used to be so friendly and goofy. A really warm fellow.
Oh? I didn't take him for such a warm fellow when I met him earlier.
Yeah, he suddenly changed one day. Now, he's so much more distant. I'm sure the mayor could use a vacation or something.
A sudden change of personality, you say? Was the change after some bizarre event?
Now that you mention it, it was after the whole town got bathed in that weird fog, where we saw and heard ghosts and ominous voices.
The paladin commander frowned.
Is something the matter?
Oh, no. Nothing to worry about for the moment. May I please have another pork chop?
Certainly.